Hello everyone, Rose Pants here, back with another episode highlighting a specific chapter from the book, The Pot Book. If this is your first week joining me, I have been going through this compilation. It's a great book. It is edited by Julie Holland, but then each different chapter is written by someone within the cannabis industry itself, or they're a doctor. It's really well-rounded. This week I will be highlighting chapter 9, which is on ending prohibition. Now, because prohibition is such a wide encompassing topic in general when it comes to cannabis, this chapter in specific is just a slightly edited transcript of a speech given by Ethan Nadelman, who is a PhD as well, at the NAACP Centennial Conference held at the Manhattan Hilton Hotel in New York on July 13th, 2009. Now again, because prohibition is such a wide topic to be discussed, this chapter could be so long. So I kind of agree with the editor's decision to just have it highlight one specific speech, and then throughout the book we will go into prohibition and certain little subjects within prohibition and what and how it is what it is. So the speech starts out with just kind of getting down on the basic level with everyone and making them realizing that it is all encompassing. Like I wrote it in the side of the page, it's all encompassing across the board. That, I mean, he says Republicans, Democrats, Independents, people that have been addicted to drugs, people who love drugs, people who have lost loved ones to drugs, people who have no problem with drugs. Like, it doesn't really matter who you are, you have some sort of opinion on prohibition and cannabis, and how you relate those two together. It's really going to determine how we move forward with cannabis legalization and how fast that process is going to be. I did mention before that this speech was given at the NAACP, which stands for the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, and they do mention that as a human rights activist, however, you cannot escape the fact that the war on drugs is not just a human rights issue, but a direct assault on racial justice as well. Because those are the two main factors when it comes to prohibition. Racial justice and human rights in general play a huge part in this. On page 131 of the Pot Book, Ethan does mention that in the United States today, we have less than 5% of the world's population, but almost 25% of the world's incarcerated population. We rank first in the world in the per capita incarceration of our fellow citizens. Kind of shocking. Ethan then goes in to pretty much prove that this is a racially drawn war on cannabis, mentioning that the movement for reform would be moving a lot faster than it is right now if the vast majority of people being corralled into prisons were white. And obviously, as a white woman myself, I absolutely agree with this statement, and I wrote in the margin of the book that this is proof that it's a race-driven war, and obviously it would not be as big of a deal. There would not be as many people in prison today if from the very beginning the majority of them were white. It would have been such a bigger deal. There would have been more people fighting right there. Ethan says it pretty damn perfectly, again on page 131. No better system has ever been created to imprison millions of people, disproportionately black and brown, to dehumanize them, give them a number, take them away from their homes, put them in remote communities, dissolve their identity, and treat them as second and third and fourth class citizens for the rest of their lives. That is what the war on drugs is doing today. So the first half of Ethan's speech is used to establish prohibition, what it is, and how it's so wrong and how it's not working. We've established that prohibition on cannabis and drugs in general is just not working in the United States, and we drastically need to move away from this system. In Ethan's speech and on page 132, he does mention that there is a price to a slow learning curve, and that price is people. Again, on page 132, he asks the question, how many people are being derailed? How much promise wasted because of our slow learning curve? There are all of these people going to jail. It mentions 1.8 million people are getting arrested on drug charges each year. Disproportionately, a majority of them are black or brown. But how many of these people are not bad people? These people are not going to be going out after their release on there's this one drug charge. Let's just say they were arrested for cannabis possession. They are not a hard ground criminal that's going to be continuously going out and causing harm in this world. I'm going to leave you with one last excerpt from this speech. I will put the link down below if you want to watch the full thing. It is on YouTube. I'll put that link down below. I repeat, no matter how much you hate drugs, no matter how much you have seen the worst that drugs can do, the war on drugs, the criminal justice system, and the criminalization approach cannot and will not be the right way. As always, after ending an episode, feeding our brains with cannabis knowledge, we need to feed the rest of our cannabinoid system that we know that we have. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode highlighting a key chapter of the Pot Book. This chapter 9 on ending prohibition did conclude part 1 of the Pot Book, which was just an overview of cannabis. Next week, we'll be jumping into part 2 of the Pot Book, which is risks of use and harm reduction. We'll be starting it out with chapter 10, which is medicinal risks and toxicology. Of course, this has been highlighting the Pot Book. Thank you so much for joining me. See you guys next time. Bye.